All right. Hello, and welcome back to this week's edition of Soulful Sunday. Let me just tell y'all, okay? I've been trying to get it together. Been trying to get it together, honey. The last few weeks have just been, the last couple weeks, just a lot of travel with work. I went back home to Tennessee for a weekend to spend some time with my family. And I've just been trying to refine the balance. I was like super recharged after the holidays, ready to just like go into 2020, kill it, new year, new me. And it's been kicking my butt. So when I was in Tennessee a couple weeks ago, I made this Instagram story, or I think like shared a devotional just about God sufficiency versus self-sufficiency or something like that. Sorry, I keep looking over here, just trying to be sure my camera is straight. Because I just find myself like I'll wake up in the morning and it's just like, let's just get at it. But just kind of fueling off my own power and then wondering why like I'm not feeling close to God and that kind of thing. So I was just like, sis, let's just get it together. Okay, let's prioritize and find balance, and consistency is one of my things for 2020 amongst a couple of others. And so want to be consistent on my YouTube channel, want to be consistent in certain disciplines. So I just gotta like truly cultivate the conviction that like it's not about the work that I do. It truly is about what God does, and him going before me and him giving me the strength and energy. And a prime example of that is I had sat down, when was it? Thursday night after a work event, to record my video. Like I'm gonna be ahead of the game. I'm gonna have 2 days to do my editing, that kind of thing. Sorry, I got some lint or something flying. And I sat down and I did the video, but it just kind of felt like, really? It just kind of felt like, I don't know, that I was just like forcing material out. And I mean, if push came to shove, for the sake of consistency, I was going to do the video. But God is amazing. And I sat down tonight to do my quiet time and really just felt poured into by God. And so now I'm recording a new video that will be along the same lines. But I was just reminded that like, yes, sis, you can't pour into people when you ain't got nothing to give. And that's why just resting up and more importantly, being refueled spiritually is so important. So I just wanted to chit chat a little bit. I made an Instagram story after the news of Kobe Bryant's death, just about how like, you know, God is just shaking things up. And I've actually talked about death and just grieving and that kind of thing. I feel like a lot lately, just because I'm in a lot of those situations, not physical death here recently, but death of situations and deaths of relationships and that kind of thing. And so it brings about the same feelings to an extent. It's not the same as, you know, somebody literally not being here on this earth anymore. But it's one of the things that shakes my faith. Just because, for example, with Kobe Bryant's death and everybody else that was on that helicopter, it's just so hard to wrap your mind around. And I'm not at the point yet in my faith where I'm like, I'm ready to die because I look forward to heaven. I know that that's the goal, because that's what we should be setting our sights on. Like, that's the only hope that we have. And death is a reminder of that heaven is the only hope that I have, because everything in this world passes away. But I'm not there yet. And I quite frequently, I don't talk to y'all about anything that I've already accomplished. And that's what I feel passionate about with my content on my YouTube channel and my blogs. Like, this ain't a finished product, sis and bro, if you're listening to, like, this ain't about a finished product. My content is about the journey. It's about the mistakes. It's about what I'm figuring out. It's about what I'm learning, and anybody else who can come alongside that, hats off to you. So I was doing some journaling in my quiet time. There's just been a lot of tragedy. I was just feeling really disheartened this past week, but just kind of like, I ain't had time to deal with it, or I ain't made time to deal with it. I don't want to have to get up earlier than I already do to deal with it. So I got some time to journal a little bit. And, you know, every time I open up a phone to go to social media, Kobe's everywhere. And it's just so heartbreaking. So I've just been feeling disheartened this week. Just thinking about my own situations and tragedies that I'm aware of back home, people losing loved ones, and children dying, teenagers dying to senseless violence. The images, you know, in their family members' heads, you know, just, it's hard. It's hard. And so I done a video one of my Soulful Sundays was on trusting God through disruption. And so the other D word that I'm going to hit on today is trusting God through disappointment. Sometimes disruption may equal disappointment. Sometimes it may not. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. Just want to be sure everything is kosher. Sometimes disruption may equal disappointment. Sometimes it may not. For me, it has. With my most recent situations. And so the hard thing about disappointment is that its cousin is anger. I tend to hit up the cousin more quickly than I do disappointment. And usually when I'm feeling angry, I've learned that that's a trigger for me to dig a little deeper to really figure out the hurt and disappointment that I feel. And then I can start to really deal with what I'm feeling. So I looked up, or I Googled the definition of disappointment. I do that often in my quiet times, not because I don't know what it is, but just because I need to be able to like put words to it and process it that way. So when I Googled disappointment, it says disappointment is the feeling of dissatisfaction that follows the failure of expectations or hopes to manifest. The feeling of dissatisfaction that follows the failure of expectations or hopes to manifest. I remember the words of a friend that reminded me that there is no joy without sadness. You kind of can't, you don't know what it feels like to experience one extreme without experiencing the other. I want to just experience the good extreme. Can we just be joyful? Can we just be hopeful? Can we just have everything line up? Can you just give me the formula to doing what I need to do to get X result, and we just keep it on the straight and narrow? But life is not that. And I guess, I mean, I'm still a young adult, right? So I still have a ton to experience in life, and I guess part of this is just adulthood, where it's just like twists and turns, baby. They're like the only guarantee. Change is the only constant. It's hard. It's hard when you feel like you don't get a break. It's hard when you feel like you just want to know what you should have done differently. It's hard in something like death when someone is taken away from you so suddenly. The grieving process is hard, and just learning a new reality, like, hard, you know? And I was texting with a friend today, and I told her that she put words to something that I haven't been able to put words to, and that was some situations you just gotta live out. Like, ain't no perfect advice. Have a quiet time every day, great. Walk with God every day. But at the end of the day, you just gotta live through it. Like, you just gotta experience it. That's just what it is. Like, ain't no formula. Ain't no it gets better tomorrow, you know? You just gotta face each day and whatever comes with that. And I was like, haven't been able to put those words to some of those things that I feel, but that's it. Like, it is what it is, not in a bad way. I just gotta live this thing out. That's all that can happen right now. And so a couple of scriptures that were helpful in helping me to process. So, you know, okay, we can identify the disappointment, but what's helpful is to then move to the other end of the spectrum and to meditate and set your heart on God's promises. Romans 15:13 was one of the passages that the article that I was reading used. And from the New Living Translation, it says, I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. I pray that God, the source of hope. So that right there told me, sis, ain't nothing else for you to hope in. Like, God is the source. He's where the hope is going to come from. So if it's going to come from anything following your disappointment, like, God is the source of hope. And then it says, his prayer is that he'll fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in him. Fill you completely with joy and peace because circumstances are great? No. Fill you completely with joy and peace because the outcome looks like what you want it to look like? No. Fill you with joy and peace because you got enough money to cover your bills? No. Fill you with joy and peace because, you know, all of your relationships look like what you want them to look like. You're exactly where you want to be in life, so I can sleep good tonight? No. Fill you with joy and peace because you trust in him. Man, I looked at that passage. I'm sure I've read it before. I've read through the book of Romans and I was just like, money. Money, okay? This passage is money. Like, because you trust in him. That's all I got. Like, God being the source of hope and trust in him is all I got, because people are going to fail me. Circumstances are going to change. Not every day is going to go like I want it to go. I'm going to be confused. I'm going to be disappointed. And I may be on top of the world the next day and in a valley experience the next day. But trust in God is all I got. And some days I'm like, look, God, like, if this ain't real, that's all I got, you know? Like, if this ain't what's real, there's nothing else to hope in. And so I just pray that encourages somebody, man. That's Romans 15:13. God is the source of hope. He'll fill you completely with joy and peace. And then the second passage is, well, there's a couple. But the second one that I'll hit on is Psalm 84:11. Psalm, 84:11. For the Lord God is our sun and shield. He gives us grace and glory. The Lord will withhold no good thing from those who do what is right. I have to be reminded of that God ain't trying to just straight up withhold good from me. He's not just trying to straight up withhold good from anybody. that completely goes against the God who thought enough of us to send his only son to the cross to die for us. Like, that's just not his character. So being reminded of that as well, that the Lord won't withhold any good thing from me as long as I'm doing what's right, as long as I'm walking upright, that kind of thing. So I just took some time to write those scriptures out, and I keep my journal on me. So, you know, to be able to go back to that, because the flood of emotions will come again. But I'm encouraged that, like, in this quiet time, just being reminded that, you know, all week, the past couple weeks, I've just been trying to, like, wake up early enough to, like, get to work early, you know, get through my emails and that kind of thing. And, like, the time that I feel the most refreshed is when I take the time out for God. So let that be an encouragement to you all. We are all in this together. I feel passionate about just community, especially community for women and that kind of thing. So along those lines, per usual, hit me up, you know, let me know some of the things that you're dealing with, that you're walking through. If you need prayer for anything, if you feel encouraged by anything you heard, let me know. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, because I do feel passionate about the YouTube channel. So that's it for this week. Look forward to more new and exciting content. And until next time, I'm out. Bye, y'all.